Another question I have, I'm a little skeptical about the whole IQ obsession seems to
Mhm.
run through the side of the right. Did you see Taleb's like tweet storm about it?
Yeah,
And
yeah, I did see that.
I don't know, before even his tweet storm, I was looking at stuff like the Flynn effect, and it showed that like in 1900s America, like white Americans had an IQ of like 80 or something.
Oh,
You know,
really?
yeah, and there's some pretty crazy stuff, and I'm a big history guy, so I kind of found it hard to justify that all these great empires in history, they would have been built with people with like 30 IQs and 80 IQs, and the people have just vanished. I don't know. I find it hard to connect those two dots.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think Taleb makes a good point in that IQ isn't the end all be all and everything. But by the same token, obviously IQ is tapping into something. Like, do you know what I mean? Like the worldview that IQ paints, or the disparities in IQ and the worldview that they paint, like, resonate with us with our experiences, right? Like, if we were to say that Africans have the lowest IQ and the next lowest is Hispanics and then whites and then Asians, I think a lot of people would say, well, that makes sense based on what we see. That's more or less reflective of reality. So I don't know if I'm committed to the idea of IQ. I don't really have technical knowledge of IQ or what it measures, or I'm not a statistician, right? But I think that it's kind of missing the point to say, well, IQ isn't really a measure of whatever. They had a lower IQ. It's like, well, obviously there is a disparity in something, whatever capacity that might be, that certain people clearly are not functional in the kinds of societies that we build, and certain people are, right? I mean, I don't think anybody would deny that. So that's where it kind of comes down to me. I don't know if
I think like IQ is a very like I guess like a very autistic way. Like it's just one form of intelligence. There's many others. There's people skills. There's like abstract thinking and so many more. So many more. And IQ is just one of them. There's some people who are really good at math, but they suck at everything else. And then there are people like me who can only do abstract stuff. I suck at math. I suck at kind of like things that an autist would be good at. Do you know what I mean? Like math and structure and like really like structure and like systems and like stuff like that. I suck at that, man. I'm a fluid type of guy. I'm like I'm like a river. I'm like a fluidity type of guy. I kind of take it as it comes and I adapt. But some people are just, higher IQ. They can be more like autistic or whatever. And then there are people like me who are more down to earth, kind of chill. So yeah.
I'm wedded to the idea of IQ, so to speak. But I will say that people like Charles Murray, Jason Richwine, Jared Taylor, like a lot of great intellectuals, Jordan Peterson even, are big believers in it. So I think Taleb, I don't know. I'm hesitant to say this, but obviously IQ has some pretty profound ramifications if you support it. So is this a case of obfuscation on the part of somebody who doesn't really want to engage with the idea because they're afraid of the consequences, or what? Right? I mean, do you kind of get where I'm going with that?
Sure, sure. I kind of agree with you that it's probably not the whole picture. I think personally, I don't have any evidence to back this up, but I feel like it's more of a malleable, trait. I think you can see it go up and down with populations based on, education, etc. And I think it's kind of unfair that we're judging the third world or the developing world or the global south, whatever you like to call it, with the same lens that we talk about Europe, who went through industrialization. These people are still adapting to the modern world. So I think maybe we give them 50 years and we see how it works out.
Sure. Well, I mean, to be fair,
Maybe
like,
not maybe not certain people, but I think most people probably have the potential.
I don't know, man. I mean, that's where you kind of lose me because, like, on the one hand, like, I understand what you're saying, but like, there's a reason they didn't industrialize. Like, the Industrial Revolution happened 100 years ago, but you know what happened 3,000 years ago? We
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that, Nick?
Built the
What?
pyramids. So it's like
Well, who built the pyramids, man?
white man did. The white man did.
No!
Yeah, but you know what I mean. I mean, we started out. I mean, like, okay, forget the pyramids now because that's a historiographical argument. But like, look at the Greeks, and the Greeks had Plato
Sure.
and Socrates, and so it's only been a steady trajectory upward, or some might say it was an
I don't know,
involution
man.
over.
I've heard like it's really about resource. Like Africa compared to Europe is dead. Like there is no resource, like the abundance of resource, and um, like the soil is better. Like everything is just better. Africa is a very very harsh environment. A lot of Africa is a very harsh environment. So I heard that, but that was more from like, is it like anthropology? But it was a guy I liked. It was Kaiser Bao. He talked about that. I think it was how just the land is less fruitful. It is just more difficult to develop in that land. Like I don't know. Like think about it like this: if Africa was just Europeans and nothing was built, how like could they develop as quickly as the Europeans? Like when it comes to resource, when it comes to land, water, all of that, just think about that, how harsh the climate is. Can it really be that easy? I don't know.
The years. But I think you
But
get what I'm saying.
you
We
would
have had a
expect, like,
level of advancement for a
sure.
long time ahead of them. So
Yeah, like Germanics and like Swedish people with the highest IQs, they've had like a crazy level of advancement.
mhm.
I don't know how well that works, man. If you look at like ancient Pakistan, they had one of the most advanced civilizations.
Okay, how do you view intelligence? Because it's like we in the West, in America, in Europe, in the Western world, we're like the smartest, we're the most educated, but we're not having kids. That means we're dying. And who is getting kids? It's the illiterate dude with 4 wives and 20 kids. That dude is just gonna keep popping out more kids and getting more women. But we, the smart people, we're not having kids. Who's really the smart one here? It's like, what's the point of, working, educating, getting an education and all that if you're not gonna have offspring, if you're not gonna impact the world and have a legacy? It's kind of like, who's the smart one? Is the dude with the 20 kids, or like, I think people need to start thinking more like that. It's like, bro, like some of these like especially like this like white kind of pride type of people, or like they kind of joke about it a lot, but they're like, white people are the best, we're the kings, we're white people, we are the champions. But it's like, you're not having kids, you can't control your women. Like there's more as well.
Really, all the civilizations in the past that were advanced before Rome and Greece were in the Middle East. So I don't think that's really a good way to look at this.
Yeah. I guess to me, the lens that I look at it through is really more of the immediacy of our existing political dynamic. Like, I think I'd be more inclined to be charitable to that kind of thinking because I think you're probably right. But the problem is that, like, there is an immediate demographic problem that
Sure.
you know what I mean? So the survival of my people kind of and arguments in favor of that to me kind of take precedence over this abstract, like, well, what's really going on? Like that's sort of a question to be pondered. Maybe once we secure everything and everything's locked down, because you're probably I think there is a lot to what you're saying, getting at that Northern Europeans were primitive at one time when other civilizations were advanced and so on, and maybe there are other factors involved, but by the same token, it's like, well, clearly we're employing the IQ argument in the present day with the present populations, with present migration concerns in mind. And I don't think that can be discounted as the pragmatic reality of the situation, right?
I don't know. It seems it's kind of a moot talking point too when you put it in context, because
What
the
is?
immediate, the like, we don't need low IQ people in our country.
Yeah.
It it follows the same like the same framework as we don't need like uneducated people in our country. The immediate counterpoint is, okay, why not take in the highest class, the most educated people from these countries, or the highest IQ people from these countries?
Well, the point to me of IQ is about distinction. The point is to legitimize the concept of tribe for people that say that race is only skin deep and every immigrant is interchangeable, every America is interchangeable. I get what you're saying. A lot of people say, oh, well, the IQ argument is dumb because then you get high IQ nationalism and then we're back to square one essentially. But to me, the kind of immigrants are bringing in, at least now, I recognize in the last 5 years it sort of changed up a little bit, but largely in the last 50 was lower IQ Hispanic immigrants. It helps to at once, sort of paint a picture of that's obviously going to be a challenge, but also number two, it highlights the distinction of the different tribes that,
Sure, yeah.
if there is that biological difference, what does that say about tribalism? Does it say that it's something regressive and something that should be overcome? Or something that's kind of baked into our DNA. If there are profound genetic differences in a mental capacity instead of just a cosmetic capacity, what does that say about the nation state? Can we just erase a people? Would that be ethical if they were distinct and separate and so on? I think that's really more to the point. But
Okay. I don't want to take up too much time.
no, it's a
But
good conversation. But yeah, we should.
There, for me, there are differences in between the races. Like, think about it like this: like, I am born and I get my mother's nose and I get my father's ears and I get my father's eyes and his height. I get all these traits from my parents, whatever they are. You get these traits. You get your skin color. You get all these genetic traits from your parents. You really think you're not getting like it stops there, and your personality, who you are, how you think, how you see the world, that has nothing to do with genetics? Are you kidding me? That just sounds ridiculous to me. And if you listen to the experts, they're gonna say like, yeah, 60% or whatever it is, 60, 70% of your personality is genetics. That is what it is. So if two idiots have a kid, come on, man, use the common sense here. Like, it probably is going to be more of an idiot. There's a more higher likelihood of it. You're not, predetermined by the gods to be an idiot, but you're going to have to work a little extra hard to not be an idiot. And some people, they just have good genetics to be more educated, more, free, I guess. But people don't want to talk about that genetics have a role in who you are and how you behave and how you see the world. But people don't want to talk about that, man. They don't want to listen to the experts. I'm not the expert. There's people who research this stuff. There's people who write papers on this that do agree. Yes, there are personality differences. There are intelligence differences between the races, but yeah, pretty much that is what I was talking about.